When you hear the phrase, McDonald's beef patties are made from 100% USDA-inspected beef with no fillers, additives, or preservatives, it sounds reassuring, almost like a stamp of quality and purity. After all, the USDA is a respected authority that enforces strict guidelines on meat safety and processing. And the claim that the only seasoning added is salt and pepper during cooking suggests a straightforward, no-nonsense approach to flavoring. On paper, this paints a picture of a simple, honest beef patty, free from artificial gimmicks or chemical enhancements. But when you scratch beneath the surface, the story becomes far more complex and, intriguingly, far more controversial. In the next 15 minutes, we shall reveal the secrets McDonald's does not tell you about their meat. Let's start by unpacking what 100% USDA-inspected beef actually means. The USDA inspection process is primarily focused on ensuring that the beef is safe to eat, free from harmful bacteria, contaminants, and disease. It does not necessarily speak to the quality, freshness, or flavor of the meat. In fact, the USDA grades beef based on marbling, color, and maturity, with prime, choice, and select being the most common grades. McDonald's beef patties are generally made from USDA choice or select grades, which are perfectly acceptable but not the highest tier of beef quality. Prime beef, which is the most marbled and tender, is typically reserved for fine dining and premium cuts. So while the patties are indeed 100% beef and USDA inspected, this doesn't guarantee a gourmet eating experience. The claim of no fillers, additives, or preservatives is also technically accurate, but merits a closer look. Fillers are substances like breadcrumbs or soy protein that some manufacturers add to ground beef to reduce costs or alter texture. McDonald's explicitly avoids these, which is commendable and distinguishes their patties from some cheaper fast food competitors. However, the absence of fillers doesn't automatically equate to superior taste or freshness. The beef is still ground, frozen, shipped, and cooked in a high-volume environment, which we'll talk more about later in the video. All of these steps affect the texture and flavor. Salt and pepper being the only seasonings added during cooking is another point that sounds straightforward but has implications for the eating experience. Salt enhances flavor and helps retain moisture, while pepper adds a mild kick. But the lack of other seasonings or flavor enhancers means the patty's taste relies entirely on the quality and natural flavor of the beef, which, as we've noted, is not prime grade and undergoes freezing and reheating. This is where consumer skepticism kicks in. Even with McDonald's transparency about their beef being 100% pure and USDA inspected, many consumers remain unconvinced about the quality and freshness of the meat. On platforms like Reddit, Quora, and various food forums, discussions abound about the taste and texture of McDonald's beef patties, with a significant number of users describing the experience as artificial, processed, or lacking in authentic beef flavor. For instance, a popular Reddit thread titled, "What's Really in McDonald's Burgers?" has thousands of comments where users dissect their perceptions of the meat. One user wrote, "McDonald's is absolutely vile. All they've done is turn what once could have been a nice cut of beef into all kinds of blah." "It's gross," another chimed in. Another commented that even people who eat McDonald's don't think it's good. While one posted that their chicken nuggets taste like rubber and their cheeseburger is all greasy and smashed. These sentiments are echoed repeatedly, illustrating a widespread feeling that, while the meat is pure by definition, it doesn't deliver the sensory satisfaction many expect from a beef burger. On Quora, the skepticism is similarly vocal. A user asked, "If McDonald's patties are 100% beef with no fillers, why do they taste so different from homemade burgers?" The top answer explained that the industrial processing, freezing, and rapid cooking methods used in fast food chains inevitably alter the texture and flavor profile. The answer also pointed out that the beef blend and the lean-to-fat ratio can lead to a drier, less flavorful patty compared to fresh, homemade ground beef, which often has a higher fat content and is cooked more gently. To understand why this skepticism is so prevalent, it helps to look at the science behind meat processing and consumer taste perception. Ground beef's flavor and texture are influenced by several factors: the cut of beef used, fat content, freshness, grinding method, freezing, and cooking technique. McDonald's uses a leaner blend of beef cuts to meet nutritional guidelines and cost constraints, which means less fat and, consequently, less flavor and juiciness. Fat is a carrier of flavor and moisture, so a leaner patty tends to be drier and less rich. Consumer taste tests and rankings reflect these realities. In blind taste comparisons, McDonald's patties often rank lower than burgers made from fresh, locally sourced beef with higher fat content. For example, a 2021 consumer survey by Food & Wine magazine ranked McDonald's burgers below gourmet burger chains and even some fast casual competitors, citing the patty's lack of depth in flavor and less appealing texture. Speaking of burgers, when you think about McDonald's burgers, the image that likely springs to mind is that of a hot, juicy patty sandwiched between soft buns, topped with melted cheese, pickles, onions, and that signature special sauce. But behind the scenes, there's a fascinating and sometimes contentious story about how those patties make their way from the farm to your tray. One of the lesser-known facts is that for most of McDonald's classic burgers, the hamburger, cheeseburger, Big Mac, and McDouble, the patties are actually frozen before they are shipped to restaurants. In contrast, the quarter-pounder patty is made from fresh beef, never frozen. This difference might seem subtle, but it has significant implications for texture, flavor, and ultimately customer satisfaction. Freezing meat is a widely used preservation technique that slows down bacterial growth and extends shelf life, which is crucial for a global chain like McDonald's that serves millions daily across thousands of locations. However, freezing and thawing meat can have a profound impact on its quality. When beef is frozen, ice crystals form inside the muscle fibers, which can rupture cell walls. Upon thawing, this damage can cause the meat to lose moisture, resulting in a drier texture and diminished juiciness. This is a key reason why many food scientists and chefs argue that fresh beef tends to have a superior mouthfeel and flavor compared to frozen beef. McDonald's decision to use frozen patties for most of their burgers is largely driven by logistics and consistency. Frozen patties can be stored for longer periods, allowing restaurants to maintain a steady supply without worrying about spoilage. It also ensures that the product is uniform across locations, a critical factor for a brand that prides itself on delivering the same taste experience, whether you're in New York, London, or Tokyo. The Quarter Pounder, however, is positioned as a premium offering, and McDonald's uses fresh beef patties for it to provide a richer, more authentic burger experience. This distinction is important because it highlights how McDonald's balances operational efficiency with consumer expectations for quality. But how does this freezing process affect the taste and texture of the burgers? Many customers have weighed in on this question, especially on platforms like Reddit, where food enthusiasts and everyday consumers alike share candid opinions. A recurring theme in these discussions is the description of the frozen patty burgers as tasting like meatloaf or feeling overly processed. These comments often appear in threads dissecting the differences between McDonald's various burger offerings and comparing them to homemade or gourmet burgers. For example, in a popular Reddit thread titled, "Why do McDonald's burgers taste like meatloaf?" users dive deep into the sensory experience of eating these patties. One user wrote, "I just had a double cheeseburger from McDonald's and something tasted very familiar. It didn't taste like a normal cheeseburger. It tasted like some other food, meatloaf. I don't know how they do it. I've never made a homemade burger taste like anything other than a burger. Maybe it is a lack of sear, the rehydrate or dehydrated onions, ketchup, beef, seasonings. I don't know, but whatever it is, it all comes together and tastes like crappy meatloaf." Another consumer commented under it, "You don't go to McDonald's expecting a fine dining, high-quality ingredient meal." These discussions have garnered hundreds of upvotes and replies, indicating that this perception resonates with a significant portion of McDonald's customers. The meatloaf comparison is particularly interesting because meatloaf is typically made from ground beef mixed with fillers, binders, and seasonings, then baked into a dense loaf. Even though McDonald's patties contain no fillers or additives, the texture resulting from freezing and mass production can mimic that dense, uniform feel. This leads to a sensory disconnect for consumers who expect a burger to have a certain juiciness and variability in texture that comes from fresh, hand-formed patties. Scientific studies support these consumer observations. Research published in the Journal of Food Science has shown that freezing and thawing cycles can reduce the water-holding capacity of meat by up to 20%, leading to drier cooked products. Needless to mention that freezing can affect the release of flavor compounds, making the meat taste blander or less complex. This aligns with the complaints about McDonald's frozen patties lacking depth and flavor and having a rubbery texture. In terms of rankings and comparisons, McDonald's burgers often fall behind fresh beef burgers in blind taste tests. For example, a 2022 consumer taste test conducted by a popular food review site ranked McDonald's burgers below several fast casual chains that use fresh, never frozen beef. Participants noted that McDonald's patties were less juicy and had a more uniform, less natural texture. Which brings us to a very important question. What exactly goes into that iconic beef patty? The truth is, McDonald's patties are not crafted from prime cuts of steak or premium filet mignon. Instead, they are made from a blend of beef cuts, primarily from chuck, round, and sirloin. These are well-known beef cuts, but they're not the kind you'd usually associate with a high-end steakhouse experience. This combination of cuts is then ground together and shaped into the familiar patties that millions enjoy worldwide every day. Chuck round and sirloin are all parts of the cow that offer different textures and flavors. Chuck, coming from the shoulder area, is known for its rich, beefy taste and good fat content, which helps keep the patty juicy. Round from the rear leg is leaner and can be a bit tougher, while sirloin, located near the rear back, strikes a balance with tenderness and flavor. By blending these cuts, McDonald's creates a patty that is designed to be economical, consistent, and suitable for mass production. But this blend also means the meat is far from the prime cuts you might expect if you're imagining a gourmet burger. This approach to sourcing beef is not unique to McDonald's. It's standard practice across the fast food industry. Using a blend of cuts allows for cost efficiency and ensures a uniform product. However, the trade-off is that the flavor and texture might not measure up to what you get from a steakhouse burger or even a high-quality homemade patty made from a single cut of beef. According to the United States Department of Agriculture, ground beef can be made from any combination of beef cuts, as long as it meets safety standards. McDonald's adheres strictly to these regulations, but the perception of the meat's quality varies widely among consumers. Many customers have voiced their opinions about the flavor and quality of McDonald's beef patties on popular platforms like Reddit and Quora. Discussions often revolve around the taste and texture of McDonald's burgers. Some users praise the familiar flavor and convenience, while others express disappointment, describing the patties as bland, rubbery, or overly processed. For example, one Reddit user commented, "The beef tastes like it's been ground from a bunch of different scraps and then compressed into a patty. It's not bad, but it's definitely not premium meat." Another user added, "I feel like the texture is off, kind of chewy and not juicy in the way a good burger should be." On Quora, similar sentiments appear, with users debating the quality of McDonald's beef. Some argue that the blend of cuts results in a patty that lacks the depth of flavor found in burgers made from a single, high-quality cut. Others point out that the fast food context means the meat is designed to hold up well under quick cooking and reheating, which can sacrifice some tenderness and juiciness. One Quora answer noted, "McDonald's uses a mix of chuck, round, and sirloin because it's cost-effective and ensures the patty holds together during the fast cooking process. But this means the meat isn't as tender or flavorful as a steakhouse burger." Interestingly, this perception is supported by scientific taste tests and consumer rankings. For example, a 2019 study by the American Meat Science Association found that burgers made from 100% chuck had higher flavor ratings and juiciness scores compared to blends that included round and sirloin. This is because chuck contains more marbling, which enhances flavor and moisture. Sirloin and round cuts, being leaner, can make the patty drier and less flavorful if used in high proportions. McDonald's blend aims to balance cost and texture, but it inevitably affects the eating experience. Consumer reactions often highlight the contrast between expectation and reality. Many people grew up associating McDonald's burgers with a certain nostalgic flavor, but as culinary tastes evolve and the foodie culture grows, More discerning consumers are quick to critique the meat quality. On Reddit, threads like, "What's really in McDonald's burgers?" and "Why do McDonald's burgers taste different from homemade?" have thousands of comments, with users sharing personal experiences and sometimes even lab analyses of the patties. One user shared a detailed breakdown of their homemade burger versus McDonald's, noting the difference in fat content and texture, concluding that McDonald's patties are designed for mass appeal rather than gourmet flavor. The impact of this blend on flavor is subtle but real. Chuck's rich, beefy notes are diluted by the leaner round and sirloin, which can introduce a slightly tougher texture. This is further compounded by the freezing process used for most McDonald's patties, except for the Quarter Pounder, which can affect moisture retention and mouthfeel. The result is a burger that tastes consistent but often described as processed or factory-made by consumers seeking a more authentic beef flavor. Understanding the reality behind McDonald's beef patties helps demystify the fast food experience and gives consumers a clearer picture of what they're eating. Whether you love or loathe the taste, knowing the story behind the patty adds a new layer of appreciation or critical insight to every bite. If you'd love to know more insider secrets about your favorite retail stores, check out other videos like this on our channel. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.